Hello, lovely humans. I did it. I started a video right after I said I was going to. Actually, no, I went to go edit that, get that uploaded. Should be up in just the next few minutes. But I have got to make some dinner. So I figured I'd bring you guys along with me. Tonight we are making potato leek soup because it dropped below triple digits, so I can make soup. No, in all fairness, we're about to lose some of our potatoes, so I've got to cook them. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get another potato harvest in. It's so hot. And by potato harvest, I mean, the last one's an absolute failure. I haven't even looked in the other bags. I don't wanna look. It's probably so bad. You wanna see the potatoes I got out of the first bag? Because I was so excited, I'm like, oh, the vines are dying. Let's go look. This was my potato harvest. I mean, there's a few more that are, Shoo, hey Hoodles. Not gonna be trying that. But I need to get all the rest of the potatoes that I got from our bulk Azure order. I gotta get them cooked up. And I like to keep leeks frozen on hand. Let me show you. Leeks are actually great to freeze, just like onions. Onions work too. So I will just buy them when they're at the store. To me, they taste so similar to onions. So I don't really know what the difference is, but apparently the French cook potato leek soup. So I actually keep them chopped up like this. I can toss them into dishes all the time. But I also got two giant orders from Azure Standard. So I think what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna do a version of potato leek soup, because usually it has chicken stock and then it also has heavy cream. I think I might have heavy cream in the fridge. We're officially milking the goats now. We're getting so much. I think I'm gonna make cheese. I cannot wait. Goat cheese is like one of the best things on the planet. Fight me, I don't care. Because we can't really get cream. Cream doesn't really rise to the top. It stays, what's the word? You get some on the top, but it stays intermixed in. You'd actually have to get a separator. It's above my pay grade, but it's not a very like hearty soup. So I'll do some of that. But instead, to thicken it up, what I do have an excess of is egg yolks. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and separate those and then temper them into the soup. It'll bring up the protein value. There's so much nutrition in an egg yolk, and it'll make it thick and creamy, like as if I used cream. So now I need to get all my ingredients together and get this going, because it's already 5 o'clock and we'll need to eat soon. You're crooked. Okay. Oh, okay. You're on a tripod. Because I'm, like I said last week, I'm trying to step it up. I hate this hood so much. Okay, wait, no, we're gonna move you on over here. Dropped you down. Let's see. Oh, I'm still missing the rest of the leeks. All right. But I have all of these, and so this is what I mean by when they go to seed, where these are literally like roots forming off of the potatoes themselves. And I have a ton of them to use. So I figured I would just make a giant batch of it. Because it's easy, I can just get it done. I could throw it in the freezer. I've been working really hard on food preparedness, which has been expensive for sure. Like, so much money has been set aside to bulk up on some of our ingredients, and it's also been really eye-opening, because like obviously we all know there's stuff happening in the world right now, and while we can't grow everything, we can definitely store things. So that's been a big focus of mine. And look at big old batch of leeks. So while it's hot outside, yeah, and like we're probably not gonna eat tons and tons of leftovers of potato soup, I can throw them into bags and freeze them and have them ready for a month or 2 from now, or even further when it's actually cold, and then not let these go to waste. So I'm trying to be really mindful about all of those little steps, get as much use out of our food as possible, instead of just throwing it away. So they may not look cute, but they're gonna be delicious tonight and even in like 6 months. So I'm going loosely off of a recipe. It's from One Swan Chef. I will do my best to remember to link it, but sometimes y'all know I'm garbage at that. Let's see, 3 tablespoons unsalted butter. False, always use salted. Unless it's baking, I always use salted. 4 large leeks, done. 3 cloves of garlic, peeled and smashed. I have that pre-minced stuff that I love. 2 pounds Yukon Gold potatoes, peeled, nope, keeping the peels on, and roughly chopped into 1.5 inch pieces. So this is another thing that I always do to vary this, is I always leave the peels on. Some people say there isn't nutrition in them, but I'm inclined to believe that there is. Plus, I don't mind, and I'm lazy, so I am not going to be peeling mine. 7 cups chicken or vegetable broth. I will be doing that. Oh, I also made something called a demi, which is this super dark liquid. I cooked down, I don't even know how many quarts of chicken stock until it became this beautiful dark liquid. And apparently this is a start to a lot of sauces in general, but So it's basically like a concentrated version of the chicken stock, almost like those bouillon cubes, but I made my own and it's liquid. So I have this half pint and then I have another full quart of it, but what I plan on doing is I'm gonna freeze it into ice cubes. So I can just like pop it into recipes. You add water, boom, bing, bang, bang, chicken stock. So I might use that. Bay leaves, thyme, salt, black pepper, heavy cream, again, probably substituting the eggs and a little bit of goat milk. And then chives, which we do not have. All right, let's get to cooking, shall we? Oh, I'm actually gonna grab our scrap bucket. I don't know if the chickens and goats will eat this, but it's worth tossing in there just in case. If not, then it'll go rot outside and turn back into something. The most important part. Well, the two most important parts. That's better. So now that my potatoes are washed and scrubbed, I'm gonna take my well-loved dish towel, get the potatoes over here, get them dried off, and start my chopping. Can you tell Jamie has a thing for stripes? The recipe calls for, like, obviously skin off 1-inch pieces. I am lazy, so here's what I'm doing. I have talked about this so many times. Every time I'm cooking and I'm using this, I'm always gushing about it. It's the Full Star chopper, and look at the size of those cuts. It has another, I was about to say, screen, a blade screen that can provide a mince if that's what you're looking for. But in this particular case, I just need them in chunks, but a lot of these potatoes are pretty thick. So I am gonna go ahead and just cut them in half. So then the chunks we have are only yay big. Some of these are quite a bit thicker, but still, cutting them in half should be just fine. Because what we're looking for is we're looking for an even cook on the potatoes. And then you get these perfectly cubed little pieces. Oh, wait. So ideally, I mean, yes, some of them are going to be quite a bit smaller, but this will provide a much more even cook time than if I was trying to hand chop it, because I have 0 knife skills, right, babe?
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 down, 15 to go. This might be a little bit more than 2 pounds. I think we're looking more at like 5, which is perfect because that was the entire intent. But I should probably weigh them to confirm how much we have, just so I get the ratios right. Although I will say, unless I'm making a recipe for the very first time, I don't follow recipes as much, or like I tweak them to my liking. No, here's a more fair statement. I use the recipes as a reference point, but then we'll embellish, because sometimes I'm like, how are people not adding more flavor to this, where there is no way that is enough salt or garlic. Garlic is always wrong. So I've got my handy little scale right here. This is such a nice one. I like this one a lot. I just zeroed it out. Oh, that's more than 5 pounds. Uh-oh. I'm dropping potatoes everywhere. So this is 5, and this is not quite accurate because I didn't zero this out, and this bowl might be a little bit more, but this is almost, so we're talking about 8 pounds of potatoes here. So I might actually save this for literally anything else because we're already doubling the recipe. In fact, as is, I don't think my leek to potato ratio is quite correct, but we're just rolling with the punches because I think it said 5 cups of leeks to 2 pounds of potatoes. So we are definitely gonna be potato heavy on this potato leek. Recipe says to melt butter over medium heat in a large soup pot. Add the leeks and garlic and cook, stirring regularly until soft and wilted, about 10 minutes. Adjust heat as necessary so as to not brown. Well, since these were frozen, they're actually going to probably, I think, they're not crisp like they were in the very beginning. They're probably gonna cook up a lot more quickly. And I don't wanna add the garlic in that early, and because mine is minced instead of smashed. I will probably not take 10 minutes to do mine, because these will probably cook up more quickly. If anyone's a chef and you know better, shh. Just making it up as I go along. It just sounds right, you know? Trusty Rachel Ray. I think this is Target or Walmart. She crusty. Okay. I just used her to make stock. Oh my goodness, yeah. I just used her to make some of that stock that sat on my counter, that cooked on my counter for 2 whole days. So good. That ended up making the demi, which is very nice. 3 tablespoons unsalted butter. I'm just gonna go ahead and eyeball this. Right? All right, butter's getting nice and melty. I feel like, babe, I feel like this butter tastes, or it smells better.
Definitely smells better.
Like it smells better than any other butter we've ever bought.
Yeah.
So you can see that these are, I probably got them out a little too early. They're a little mush, but we're just gonna go with the butter. I just think it's really cool that if you can find ways of preserving food, you can shop at a place like Azure Standard or something like that. Or when you find something on sale, if you know that like Leeks freeze well, I mean, they're not gonna be the same consistency as they were before, but Leeks freeze well, as do onions, or you know, ways to cook recipes. I always try to, not always try to, but frequently I'll try to make more than the recipe calls for, so then we'll have leftovers. Because why stand at the stovetop twice if you don't have to? Ooh, that's a lot of leeks. All right, I feel good about it. I was a little concerned that I didn't have enough. I think we're gonna be good. Maybe there's also something like magical about using wood utensils. Little cameo there, babe.
Heyo.
Heyo. I actually might end up needing more butter. Come take a peek at this. So this is, I think, a 16 quart stock pot. Maybe 12, I don't know. And it comes all the way up to like probably here-ish. That's a ton. Now, of course, the leeks are gonna cook down quite a bit and they're going to release some liquid as they're cooking. But the butter flavor is also incredible. Oh, it just smells so good already. Okay, let's get you back up here. This is my first like cooking show episode. I hope you guys enjoy. I love cooking. I am not skilled by any means, and there's so much that I do not know. I just love it. So soothing. Very few things bring me more joy than throwing on a very cute, timeless looking apron. Buying up some onions or leeks and garlic and some really good butter. And then everyone goes, wow, it smells so good in there. And you're like, I have literally done nothing but thank you. Leeks are looking a lot softer, so I am going to get one-handed skill. I'm actually not even gonna, no, garlic you measure with your heart, okay? Yeah, that felt right. Now we're just gonna go ahead and mix that in so those can get to sauteing as well. All right, now we've got it all sorts of cooked down. You can see it's kind of lost some of its color and some of it's browning a little bit. And I don't see a huge need to deglaze the pan, but I might just do it just a little bit because I love the flavor of white wine. So because leeks give off quite a bit of liquid, there's still some down there. It's not unnecessary stuff. Just gonna take this and pour a little bit in to make sure we get any of the cooked on bits off the bottom. Probably was a little bit useless when it's already so wet. It also dislodges it so nothing gets burnt. Probably, I think. I might have made that part up. The next part of the recipe says to add potatoes, broth, and basically seasoning, pot, bring to a boil. Cover, turn the heat down to low, simmer for 15 minutes or until the potatoes are soft. So this broth actually came out of the freezer, so it's gonna be a long time before it's like at a proper boil. Oh, and you don't have to deglaze, I think, did I ever say that? You do not have to deglaze with wine. You can definitely deglaze with stock. I don't know if you can deglaze with water.
You probably can, it's gonna be super yum.
Right, you wanna use this as an opportunity to infuse even more flavor. So I'm gonna go ahead and kick my heat up to high right now because we're already starting at a negative because this is only semi-defrosted. So it'll be a long time before we get up to temp. And my cheat behind, I already have my water prepped, is not gonna lose out on any of this flavor that's stuck behind in these bags. So the water that I'm mixing with the demi, I'm gonna go ahead and pour into these bags and make sure I'm getting all of that stock out. Okay, so that's that 7 cups. And then we have this. And I don't know what I'm doing with this part. I might just make it up as I go along. Ooh, that is good. Ooh, that's good. So I ended up doing 6 spoonfuls. I'm gonna give it a little taste test to see where we're at. Okay, 6 was nowhere near enough. It was super watery, so I just added in a couple of pours. So let's get these potatoes in. Okay. And then salt. Oh, it calls for thyme and basil, fresh, which I don't have fresh of either. Or fresh thyme at least, but I don't have any fresh of that. But here's what I think. When it comes to creamy soups, I will wait until I'm in front of you to talk again. The addition of 3 spices levels it up so hard, and that is white pepper, paprika, and nutmeg. I think it was one day when I was making cream spinach, and it called for nutmeg, and I was like, I'm not doing that. Nutmeg's like, in my mind, reminds me of cinnamon, right? Where it's like, that's like a warm spice, not a hot spice, but like warm. And I'd seen it in some and not in others, and I was like, I don't know. Then decided to try it. You guys, just a hint of nutmeg in cream spinach changed the entire flavor profile for me. It was insane. And then I found that when I added white pepper to creamy soups, I was literally and utterly just obsessed. Yes, there is a difference between white pepper and black pepper, and I could tell the difference. It's super good. And then paprika. I think it just adds this hint of, I don't even know. I don't know what I'm talking about, okay? So take everything with a grain of salt, pun intended, because I just found that these flavors just work. All right, so here we go. Not too heavy on the nutmeg, especially because my husband's always like, I could taste the nutmeg. And like, that's not the point, sorry. And I will keep these out just in case I need to add more flavor as time goes on. I think we'll do 2. All right, my brother-in-law is a trained chef, and he taught me that to reactivate the spices, you can pour them into your palm and push, kind of crush them, almost like a mortar pestle type thing. And the oils in your hand will help to release the flavor in the dried herbs. I don't know. Why am I making aggressive faces? I don't know. So while that slowly turns to a boil, because my broth was a little too cold, and not salty enough, I went back in and added like a healthy pinch of salt. So weird. I'm gonna go ahead and start separating out my eggs, because this is going to be a little bit of a lengthy process. You guys know, we've got these incredible chickens. They lay these beautiful eggs, and I love sneaking them into as many things as possible. So what we're gonna do here is we are going to crack the eggs and pour them over my hand so I can hand separate the yolks and get these ready to go into the soup. This came up to a boil, so I'm turning it down to simmer for 15 minutes. But I've already separated, well, most of the yolks. We lost a few in transit, but I don't even know how many ended up moving over. At least 12 and a half, I think. So once the soup is blended up, I will slowly mix it in here while whisking to bring it to temp to match the rest of the soup, because obviously if we toss it right in, it would kind of just scramble them real quick, and that's not what we want. We want them to slowly rise and just add a general creaminess to the soup. Everyone's trying to be quiet in the background because I can't even hear myself think. Just drag them on his blanket. Roll them up like a burrito and then drag them through. Alright, y'all get out of here. Let me work. My first sweet family, they're just like trying to function as humans, and I'm here like, hey, I'm filming. I added already a little bit of the goat milk, and I am literally just gonna eyeball this. Let's bring it on up. Touch it down just a little bit more. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay. And then we're gonna whisk this all together. This is so much. Oh my goodness. And the hope is that it doesn't give the dish like an eggy flavor. Now I gotta find my immersion blender, which the kids always put away in a different place. Scooch on over here between all the dirty dishes and get this blended up real quick. So this is literally exactly what the name says. It's an immersion blender. Personally, I like this because it's a lot easier to clean because you can just toss it in the dishwasher than a whole blender is. But if that's all you have, go for it. This is like the longest cooking video ever. Oh my goodness, it's so much soup. Okay, let's take a peek at it. I actually don't mind when there are still some chunks left behind. So a lot of people will puree it until it's really smooth. I don't mind this. One, laziness, right? So we'll get some potato chunks. Two, gives like a little bit of a bite to it. So now is when we need to, let's get you over here. Slowly whisk in some of this. This is gonna get messy on the countertop. Let's get this set up over here. My whisking hand is this one. I don't know why I'm whisking before I'm already pouring. This is all about getting the eggs to temperature before pouring it into the soup. One more round. So I'm basically testing for temperature. There we go, that is good enough for us to pour into our soup mixture. Okay. So now I've added amazing proteins and vitamins into a soup using eggs that we had to get through. We probably get a dozen a day. We definitely don't use that many. So to have big old recipes like this where I can just get through a lot, or I'm not water glassing them, which preserves them so they're shelf stable, just gives us another excuse to add nutrition to something, and makes it a really great creamy consistency. All right, let's get into the taste test. Usually at this point, I've left out all of my spices the whole time. At this point, I know I only need to add a little bit more to kind of correct. Way more salt. I was off by like a lot. Can't even taste the pepper. You know what? I'll break the rules a little and actually go for a little lemon pepper, because I was just thinking this dish might need some brightness to it. Just a little bit of acidity, maybe even like a little touch of vinegar would be good. Adding in some Worcestershire. And that's all I'm adding because it's empty. And then a little bit of nutritional yeast, which almost has like a Parmesan, cheesy, nutty type flavor. Got it.
Nice.
Nice. I think I finally got the flavors down. Might be a little bit on the peppery side. Sorry, kiddos.
Are you recording?
No, I just stand like this for fun.
Okay.
Thumbnail. In a jarring turn of events, no pun intended, we're adding corn. So it adds a little bite to the dish.
Corn chowder.
It is like corn chowder, but not, because it's supposed to be potato leek.
You want another one?
I don't know. I mean, this is a giant batch.
It's open. Yeah.
Because it's open? Yeah, go for it. When in Texas, eat everything corn.
Yep. I helped.
I did. Such a big helper boy.
We always make dinner together.
No, he makes dinner all the time. We do a good mix.
Play up. We
Nope.
got kids, or we just bring it into them?
Let's just bring it into them. It'll be a lot quieter. They're not invited to the kitchen party. Now for the plating, or bowling. Is it called plating if it's in a bowl? No, you're ruining my art.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
So it's a nice, chunky, not smooth at all. So it's kind of definitely a good bite and texture to it while we're eating it. And what do we like to add to our potato soup?
Tabasco.
Here she is. Now, if I realized that we were gonna be doing corn, I probably would have added it in earlier so it actually has like flavor of the soup. But it's fine.
That's okay.
It's okay. You guys literally fell down again. How is this happening? Oh, you can hear the TV in the background. Everything about this shot is absolutely perfect. Here's the most bland looking soup of all time. A little dash of Tabasco on top that Elias and I just love. The brightness and spice that it adds to the dish. And let's dig in. The door is so loud. Yep, dinner was definitely a raging success, and I have so much left over. Look at this. It's another 2 dinners and definitely some lunches out of that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was definitely fun to cook with you. I'll have to come up with some better angles and definitely come up with a better plan for when I've got yolk, like egg all over my hands and I want to switch angles. That's what we have for this week's video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it inspires you to cook something, try something, twist a recipe on its head, or maybe just continuously tweak it because you accidentally messed it up and didn't give it enough spice to begin with. Okay, and until next time, bye guys.